Hey everyone! So it is the middle of September and you're probably either burnt out from gardening all summer or you're gearing up for the fall. Either way, there are some crops that can survive freezing temperatures. So if you already have those things growing, then you can leave them and perhaps still get harvest throughout the winter, or you could plant some of this stuff now. I'm in zone 5B and we get pretty cold here, so a lot of things that I plant for the fall have to be able to withstand some freezing temperatures and some frost. So I'm going to give you a list of some of the veggies that can withstand freezing temperatures. So, like I said, these things are things you can plant in the fall. They can survive freezing temperatures and grow well into the winter, or even beyond that into this next spring. Some of this stuff will survive without cover, and some of the stuff you probably have to give a layer of protection, whether that be a row cover or a hoop house, or perhaps a cold frame, something like that. If you give them just a little bit of protection, they can grow well into the winter and perhaps even into the next spring. Alright, so the first one on the list is spinach. Spinach is very hardy and it can withstand freezing temperatures. Spinach is definitely a favorite in my house. Everybody in the house loves spinach, whether it be raw baby spinach in salads or smoothies or cooked spinach. Everybody in the house definitely loves spinach. So spinach is one that you can overwinter. And like most leafy greens, with the colder temperatures, spinach actually gets even better. So number 2 on the list is carrots. All right, I don't know if you know this, but winter harvested carrots are the best carrots. The cold temperatures bring out the sugars in the carrots. So the starches in the carrots turn to sugars with the cold temperatures. Now, carrots is one of those that you will probably have to give a layer of protection if you want to keep harvesting throughout the winter. Now, if you want to harvest throughout, up until the ground freezes and then just leave them until next spring, that is definitely an option. Just mulch them very well. But if you want to continue harvesting throughout the winter, then it's probably best to give them a layer of protection, because the ground is going to freeze and it will just become hard to harvest them. Okay, if you give them a layer of protection like a cold frame or a hoop house, something of that nature, the sun in the winter will heat up that ground and it'll unthaw it in the daytime just enough for you to be able to harvest. All right, so carrots. Number 3 on the list is kale. Now, a lot of people probably don't really enjoy the taste of kale, or maybe they don't like kale that much, but kale is a different type of plant once it's grown in the colder months. Kale does get sweeter in the colder months, and kale is a master of freezing temperatures, okay? Kale can survive with no protection at all. So, kale is definitely one on the list for the fall and the winter, and it's super hardy. Number 4 on the list is called Mosh. Okay, Mosh can also be called corn salad, or in Europe they refer to it as lamb's ear, but it's kind of a leafy lettuce type green, and it can be used just like in salads or like lettuce. And it's very, very hardy. It's super hardy. It's another one of those that will grow and continue to produce throughout the winter and fall and winter. All right, so Swiss chard is next on the list, number 5, Swiss chard. Swiss chard is actually one of my favorite things to grow, because Swiss chard will withstand hot temperatures, and it also can withstand the cold temperatures. So it's really hardy, and Swiss chard is actually a biannual plant, So what that means is it will not go to seed in the first year, but rather the second year it will go to seed. So if I plant Swiss chard in the spring, it'll take me all the way until next spring, and it'll produce throughout the spring. And then when the summer months come and it gets super hot, then my Swiss chard will go to seed, but not before then. So Swiss chard is a great one on the list. Also becomes sweeter with the cold temperatures. Number 6 on the list is probably one that a lot of people are not familiar with, but it's called Claytonia, otherwise referred to as miner's lettuce. Now, it's referred to as miner's lettuce because in California, back when they were mining, they would be out there for long hours at a time, and they would survive on this wild lettuce type plant. So that's why it's called miner's lettuce. But yes, Claytonia does very well in the cold. It doesn't get big and leafy. It's a very small leafy crop, but it's still a very nice crop to grow during the winter months when you want lettuce. And Claytonia is definitely one of those. And also Claytonia, the thing about Claytonia, when it goes to flower, when it starts to flower, those flowers are edible. So you can actually eat those as well. All right, number 7 is mustard greens. Okay, mustard greens are not the same in the cold months as they are in the hot months. If you grow mustard in the summer and when it starts to get hot, it gets a little spicy. So a lot of people don't like to grow mustard for that reason. But in the colder months, it gets a buttery, rich flavor, and it doesn't have all that spice to it. So lots of mustard. There's so many varieties of mustard greens. There's Chinese mustard greens and regular mustard greens, you know, broadleaf mustards, all types of mustard greens, and they are better in the cold than they are during the warmer months. Now the last one on the list is kind of a bonus, and it's not actually a vegetable, but it's actually an herb, and that is parsley. Parsley is a very, very good plant that can definitely withstand the freezing temperatures. You can plant it in the early fall or the late summer, and it can survive with a nice, you know, with a layer of protection, or even not. And cilantro as well. Cilantro is another herb that's really good. Like, I did not cover my cilantro at all, and it lasted a very, very long time. And then it came back by itself in the spring. So cilantro is another good one to have in the garden. So that's your list of vegetables that can survive freezing. I'm sure there's more vegetables on the list. And if you know any vegetables that survive freezing, then put them down in the comment section below. But I just thought I would bring that list to you guys and let you guys know that there are some things that will survive some freezing temperatures. And if you are already growing those things, then you can still maintain to grow those throughout the fall and the winter. Or you can start to plant some of those things now. Now, if you're starting late in the game and you're not you were not planning on growing a fall garden, that's fine. And those things might not get huge and leafy, you know, super big leaves, but they can get at least 6 inches tall. And if you give them some protection, they might not continue to grow really big, but they will continue to provide some harvest throughout the fall and maybe even into the winter and possibly into the spring. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope you decide to grow some of those things and see for yourself just how cold you can get those plants to survive through. All right, guys. Till next time, the more you know, the more you grow. Bye, guys.